Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. In this practice, we're going to be working on our hip flexors. Sometimes my hip flexors get really tight, so I have a couple of poses that can help to open, release, and even strengthen. All right, let's start in seated. Just find a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit on a blanket or a pillow, or even sit in a chair if you'd like to for this first portion of the practice. Here, we just want to get into our breath. So once you feel comfortable in your seat, take a few deep breaths. Full breath in, filling up your lungs. And exhale. Feel that nice release. Again, breathing in fully and completely. And exhale. Good. And just continue with slow, steady breaths. Feel free to close your eyes. Take a moment to move inside of yourself. Notice how you're feeling inside, and just letting go of the things that are going on outside of you. Experience the sensation and the sound of your breath. Very calming and soothing. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. And let's add a bit of movement to our breath. Your next inhale, extend your arms out and up. Big reach, nice stretch. And exhale, extend your arms out with some effort, all the way back down to the sides of your body. Again, breathing in, reaching out, and up. Just feel the lengthening through the sides of your body, that nice mobility through your shoulders. And coming here to completion. Feel free to take a moment to roll the shoulders a few times, backward, and then forward. Good. Let's come to hands and knees and let's work our spine and our hips. Feel free to use a blanket here for a little extra padding. So here you want to make sure your hips are over your knees, your shoulders are over your wrists. Cat and cow. We start with cow pose. So as you inhale, just feel the pelvis tip back, feel the belly drop. That creates that arched back. Open the heart by lifting your chin. That's cow pose. We inhale. Then exhale, tuck the pelvis under. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine with the exhale, rounding the spine, chin to chest. And that's cat. And just continue. Inhale, cow, tipping the pelvis back. Open your heart. And exhale. You can go as slowly or as quickly as you'd like here, but I recommend taking this slowly so you can feel each sensation. Notice the subtleties within you. Wonderful way to open up your spine, stretch your back muscles, and to provide some mobility for your pelvis. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. We'll pause here for a moment. And if you are using a pad, go ahead and crawl off the pad. We'll set that to the side. We'll be using that again later. Let's get set up for downward facing dog. So return to this tabletop posture with the shoulders over the wrists. We actually take a step forward with the hands, spreading out the fingers so you feel a stretch between each finger, pressing the palms flat into the mat. You feel the energy and strength and length of the arms. Then tuck your toes. Do another cat-cow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Hold cat pose. Make sure your toes are tucked. Press hands firmly into the floor. Then lift your knees off the floor and just feel the hips move up and back. Keep the knees bent. Hands push into the earth as your ears just come down alongside your arms. And you'll be in downward facing dog. Make some adjustments. Settle into the pose. Take a couple breaths. From here, let's extend right leg up into the air. And exhale, right foot to the top of the mat. Let's turn left heel to the floor here, shifting weight back so you feel balanced and secure on both feet. Rise to fingertips to extend the spine initially. Then you can climb up to the thigh, pressing into thigh, long spine at this 45-degree angle. Then we'll finish standing. Inhale, reaching all the way up, finishing in a warrior one. Let's just hold here for a moment. I'm going to relax the arms, just bring the arms down to the side and actually wiggle my right foot forward just a little bit and slowly lunge a little deeper until the knee stacks over ankle, just for a little bit more sensation for the thigh, but also paying attention to this back leg, the left leg, because we're already beginning to get a hip flexor stretch. The back leg is turned outward. Upper body is kind of turning in the opposite direction to create a bit of lengthening. Let's inhale, both arms straight back up. Exhale, fold, hands return to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes here. And if that blanket is still handy, let's bring that in. We'll gently bring the knee to that blanket just for some padding. And carefully climb back up to the thigh. We're going to get into this left hip flexor now. I'm going to lean back a little bit and wiggle my toes forward. So I'm going to lunge a little bit. Now, if you happen to have a couple blocks or a book or a couple of books, you might want to use this. I'm going to bring my blocks in. So I'm wiggling the toes forward so I can recreate this right angle by sending the knee forward, knee over ankle, and getting into that lunge. Now I can keep hands on thigh right here, or I can kind of lean forward, resting belly on thigh, and I can use these blocks here for a little place to rest. Now this is starting to get into that left hip flexor, but I think I can go a little bit deeper. So I'm softening by sending the hips back a bit, wiggle the toes forward, maybe right out to the edge of my mat, and then slowly lunge, taking your time. Now you don't need to really go too deep here. I'm going to pause right here because I'm starting to feel the stretch. Now I could go deeper, but I might overstretch and that might stress that area of the body, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to stress. We are trying to stretch, but in a very safe way. I'm going to go bring the blocks down just a little lower, and I can just rest my chest a bit on the thigh. That way I'm not putting too much weight or pressure into the left leg as my hips kind of sink here. So we'll be doing this deep lunge on both sides, and we have an additional pose. It's actually a back bend, it's Camel Pose, but it also has a way of engaging the hip flexors. But this is actually a good posture to do to kind of warm up for any kind of back bend, really. All right, 2 more breaths here. And actually with these last breaths, I'm going to just sink just a little deeper, knowing that I'm going to be coming out of the pose. I can feel that deepening of the stretch, and then pushing into the blocks to help push my hips back, even turning the blocks up higher to continue pulling back. And then I can slide this right foot back until I have this nice right angle. I'm going to send my blocks over to the side here. Now I'm going to return to a high lunge. I'm going to bring my fingertips to the floor, rise up onto tiptoes behind, lifting the knee, moving the blanket out of the way. Rise to fingertips, re-extending spine, hands to thigh, lifting up slowly and carefully. And I'm in a high lunge because that back heel is still lifted, rising up. I'm going to quickly open up to a warrior 2 just to get some mobility in this left leg. Just rising up a bit, turning to the left. Left heel drops right down to the floor, and I'll be in a warrior 2. Just going to hold for a couple breaths in a warrior 2 position, just to open up the hips a little bit. And this back hand coming up and around and down to the floor. Again, rising up onto tiptoes behind, pressing hands firmly into the floor so I can slide or pull right foot back, and here's plank pose. Let's get set up for the other side. So soft knees, bending the knees slightly, sending the hips into the air, head and chest dip between the arms, make some adjustments, arriving in the pose. I always recommend bending the knees while in down dog so that you continue to have mobility in your hips, so they continue to feel like they're lifting up while hands press into the earth, creating good length. Let's do the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up. And exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor, again shifting weight back into that foot so it's well planted. Starting to rise to fingertips. There's the initial extension of spine. Climb up to the thigh, rising up a bit more extension here. And we'll finish in the warrior one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lunge. All right, I'm going to go ahead and rest the arms again. I'm going to wiggle the left foot forward just a little bit. Slowly lunge, realigning the knee over ankle, deepening the lunge slightly. Hip flexors stretch with the right leg having an outer rotation, upper body lifting and turning to face forward. Let's return to our warrior one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes. We're going down to that lunge. I'm going to bring in that blanket again for some softness for the right knee. Bringing it down. Bring in those blocks if you'd like. And rising up. There's the initial pose. Leaning back a little bit just to take some weight off of this front foot. Wiggling it forward. And then slowly shifting forward, knee over ankle, hips start to sink. Belly can come down towards thigh, and there's our little resting spot for the hands. Already starting to feel that initial stretch. You can even just keep it here. It really doesn't have to be a deep stretch to gain the benefit of that lengthening. I'm going to wiggle the toes forward. Again, I think I'll just take them right out to the edge of the mat here. Slowly lunge a little bit deeper. I'm going to pause right here because I can sense it getting a little bit more tense. Just that fine line of overstretching and keeping it at a nice place where I can breathe easily, feel the natural stretch that's occurring. Bring the blocks down just a little bit, letting the belly just kind of rest on the thigh. Just allows the body to relax a little bit more so I don't have to rely too much on this front leg for holding up the body. Deep breaths here, taking your time. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 more breaths, and with those 2 breaths, I'm going to allow my hips just to sink a little deeper because I know I have the space to kind of drop into slowly and carefully. That's the deepening of the stretch. I'm going to push away to come out and back up onto the blocks, pulling this left foot back a little bit. There we are. Okay. Folding so I can bring hands to the floor, tuck toes behind so I can lift the knee. Let's move the blanket. Let's go to that high lunge. Rise to fingertips, extended spine, hands to thigh. I'm just climbing up the body, extending the spine again, and then finishing. Rising up, reaching up. There's our high lunge. Still feeling this hip flexor stretch, which is nice. And then opening up to a warrior two, planting that foot down behind, and holding here in our warrior two position. Nice opening of the hips here. So we'll hold for a couple breaths and we'll make our way back down to the floor and move into Camel Pose. So our second hip flexor stretch and strengthening effort. Okay, big windmill, right hand up and around and down to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes here. Push into the floor with the hands, slide left foot back, plank, hold, and then bring knees gently down to the floor. I'm going to walk hands towards knees and sit back fully into hero for a moment So I can bring in this blanket again. Coming back up so I can crawl on the blanket. All right, just again for some softness for the knees. Coming up onto the knees. Here we do want the hips to be right over knees. Moving into camel pose. So we're going to make sure that the hips stay over knees, and so there's an effort of kind of pushing hips forward. Imagine there was a wall right in front of you, and you're pushing your hips right into that wall. So you're going to feel a dynamic here, and that's what we want. So we're strengthening here. We already did a stretch here, so we're ready for a back bend. We're going to do a mild camel pose. So I'm going to take hands, make fists, bring them to the back body, just at the belt line or just below the belt line. And with an inhale, you're going to be pushing down with some effort. And also with the inhale, feel the top of the body, the torso, lifting up. So we're making some space around the belt line. So we're pushing down, lifting up. That's an inhale. And with the exhale, we're pushing forward with the fist, making sure the hips stay over the knees. Alrighty? So we're pushing down, lifting up. That's an inhale. Exhale, pushing forward, keeping hips over knees. And with that exhale, we're just tipping back a little bit. Just a little. Do that again. Inhale, push down, lift up. Exhale, push forward, lean back. If you're able, you can go back a little bit more. But just find that natural stopping point. Again, we don't need to overstretch this position or go too deep, so we're straining the back. Just noticing, it's fully engaged sensation in the front of the body. We're also getting a bit of a stretch in the low belly, the psoas area, right above and below the belt line, hip flexor and upper thigh. Making sure hips stay over knees. Feeling like your heart is lifting up towards the ceiling. If you're looking up, just feel like you're rising upward. Just that so that we keep space creation, especially around the low back. One more breath. And I'm rising back up, coming back to neutral. Once I'm at neutral, I'm going to take my knees a little bit wider and just start to sit back and down and take the hands out front just for a brief child's pose. I'm going to bring in a block to rest my forehead. This could be an active child's pose, meaning hips feel like they're moving towards the back edge of the mat or towards the heels, hands reaching forward. That way we get a nice lengthening and reopening through the spine. Take some deep breaths. Also an opportunity for those hip flexors to relax. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. I'm just going to slowly rise, finishing with my props, and then sitting off to the side, coming back to the initial seated posture. Sitting up nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths. And one last movement to complete our practice. We'll inhale, extend arms out and up. Exhale, bring palms together down to heart. Taking one more breath here. And as we come to the close of our practice, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.